In today's session, we're going to learn about a different kind of school. Really, we are going to learn about a different kind of school, a school that is absolutely different from other schools. So, these are some words you may come across in this lesson. Crutch, you know, crutches are the helping tools for the cripple, and bandage can be, here you can see on the picture, it can be bandage that is covered over an injury, or to blindfold the eyes also we use a bandage. And a cripple means the one who cannot walk, or any handicapped person is called a cripple. Who is having some difficulty with arms and legs is a cripple. And the author of this lesson, he heard so much about Miss Beam's school, but he didn't get a chance to visit that school until the previous week. The author of this lesson heard a lot about Miss Beam's school. So much he heard from others. And for a long time, he had been thinking of visiting that school. Which school? The school which is being run by Miss Beam. And he got the chance to visit the school the previous week. And now in this lesson, he is narrating us, giving a detailed account of his visit to Miss Beam's school. And the entire lesson is in words of the author. It is in first person narration. When I arrived, there was no one in sight but a girl of about 12. Her eyes were covered with a bandage, and she was being led carefully between the flower beds by a little boy who was about 4 years younger. She stopped, and it looked like she asked him who had come. He seemed to be describing me to her. Then they passed on. So the author, he arrived at Miss Beam's school. As he reached the school, when he stepped inside the premises, there was no one inside, means there was no one to be seen. No one appeared to him in the premises except a 12-year-old girl. How she was? Her eyes were covered with a bandage, and she was being led carefully between the flower beds by a little boy. And in the premises of that school, there was some garden, and another boy, about some 8-year-old boy, was carefully leading that blindfolded girl whose eyes were covered with some bandage. Then she stopped. That girl stopped, and from a distance, what the author understood, That girl appeared to have had asked that little boy who had come. Means they heard the sound. She felt that someone came inside the school premises. So that girl with bandaged eyes asked that little one, and that little boy appeared uh, to be describing the author to her. And after that, then they passed on, they moved on. This happened at the entrance when he just stepped into the premises of the school. This happened. And after that, Arthur went inside to the office to meet Miss Beam. And Miss Beam was all that I had expected, middle aged, full of authority, yet kindly and understanding. Her hair was beginning to turn grey, and she had the kind of plump figure that is likely to be comforting to a homesick child. So when he entered the office and had a look at Miss Beam, what he thought, she is just as he has expected. Even before he met Miss Beam, from what all he heard about her, he imagined her in his mind. He imagined he expected that lady would be might be like this. And when he saw finally, it was exactly uh, correct. Means whatever he guessed about that lady, Miss Beam, she is exactly like that. She is a middle-aged, a very authoritative person, yet very kind and understanding. Her hair was beginning to turn gray, means beginning growing white, started growing white, and she was a little plump, means not too fat, not too lean, medium, likely to be comfort to a homesick child. She appeared like a mother. Homesick child. Where do we find homesick children? In a residential schools, where children they stay and study in the same school, away from their homes and families. And Miss Beam's school is also a residential block where children stay and study away from their home. So her total appearance was very comforting uh, to a homesick child. By seeing her, a a homesick child may feel comfortable and he may forget home. She appears like a mother to them. Then Arthur asked some questions about the teaching methods in the school, and then she replied, in fact, they were very simple. No more than is needed to help them to learn how to do things simple spelling, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and writing. The rest is done by reading to them and by interesting tasks during which they have to sit still and keep their hands quiet. There are practically no other lessons. So when the author asked Miss Beam to tell about the teaching methods that they adopt in their school, she said, what she said, all that we teach mainly to the students here simply spellings. We teach them spellings and then we teach them additions in maths, subtractions, multiplications, and writing. These are the things mainly we focus. The rest, the remaining part is done by reading to them. And remaining, what kind of education they give? They just make them sit at one place comfortably, and they make the students of the school listen to interesting stories, interesting topics, and simply they enjoy listening. They listen and learn. That's what. There are no other practical lessons. The real aim of the school is not so much to teach thought as to teach thoughtfulness. Miss Beam says, the aim of our school is not to teach the students so much thought or knowledge, but we teach them thoughtfulness. What is thoughtfulness? Being mindful of the things or people. So we teach them thoughtfulness. The students at Miss Beam's school are mainly taught what? Thoughtfulness. They start thinking about others, kindness to others, being very kind to others, and being responsible citizens. Look out of the window a minute, will you? Then Miss Beam asked the author to look out through a window from the office. I went to the window, which overlooked a large garden and a playground at the back. What do you see? Miss Beam asked. When Miss Beam asked him to look through the window, he went to the window and from there he looked through it. What did he see there? Outside, there was a large garden and a playground at the back. Then Miss Beam asked, what do you see there? She asked. I see some very beautiful grounds, I said, and a lot of jolly children. It pains me though to see that they are not all so healthy and active looking. When I came in, I saw one poor little girl being led about. She has some trouble with her eyes. Now I can see two more with the same difficulty. And there is a girl with a crutch watching the others at play. She seems to be a hopeless cripple. What Arthur saw through the window was explaining now, describing to Miss Beam what he saw there. Some beautiful grounds, garden and playground is there, and many jolly children are also there in the ground playing. But still, there is something that pains the author. What is that? All those children are not very healthy and active. They appear to be suffering with some or the other kind of physical disorder. That's what he said. I could see from here all the beautiful ground and jolly children, but the only thing that really pains me that they are all not very healthy. Some people are having bandages, some people are walking with crutches, all are having some or the other kind. Why that? Why even while I was just getting inside the school premises, at that time also I saw a very poor girl, a little poor girl. She was being led by some other boy. She had some problem with her eyes, it seems, and now I can see two more people like that who are having bandages to their eyes, and even there is a girl with a crutch. She is watching while others are playing. She appears to be very hopeless. So the sight of so many children, the sight of children with different kinds of physical disorders pained the author. That's what he shared with Miss Beam. When the author said like that, Miss Beam laughed. She laughed at once. Oh no, she said. She is not really lame. This is only her lame day. The others are not blind either. It's only their blind day. Then Miss Beam replied, laughing. She said, no, 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 don't think like that. She is not really lame. The girl you're seeing now with crutches, the girl you see now with crutches is not really lame. This is only her lame day. And the other you saw no with bandaged eyes. They are also not having any eye problem, but it is their blind day today. He didn't understand. What? They are not really blind. These are not really lame. A surprise on his face, and Miss Beam laughed again. This is a very important part of our system. To make our children appreciate and understand misfortune, we make them share in misfortune too. Each term, every child has one blind day, one lame day, one deaf day, one injured day, and one dumb day. During the blind day, their eyes are bandaged absolutely and they are on their honor not to peep. The bandage is put on overnight so they wake blind. This means that they need help with everything. Other children are given the duty of helping them and leading them about. They all learn so much this way, both the blind and the helpers. Miss Beam continued to explain the system they have in the school. This is a very important part of our system. What you have seen just now, it becomes the very important part of our system in school. What is that very important? To make children appreciate and understand misfortune. Misfortune means bad luck. All people are not normal. Some people are born blind, born deaf, born dumb. Some people, after some accidents in their lives, they become cripples. They become physically handicapped. They are quite misfortune. Very unlucky guys. They suffer a lot. And in Miss Beam's school, children are encouraged to appreciate and understand that bad luck. How they make children understand the suffering of such physically handicapped people? By now, I think you must have guessed what they have. Each child or every student in that school has to go through a blind day, a lame day, a deaf day, an injured day, a dumb day. Means for example, on a blind day, if it is your turn on your blind day, your eyes will be covered with a bandage, and throughout the day, you will be like that with that bandage on your eyes. Means you will not be able to see anything. Why? Why are they following this system? When a student is blindfolded on his blind day, throughout the day, he will understand how difficult it is to be blind throughout the life and what kind of difficulties they have. Children at Beam School, they know and understand more about the suffering of the handicapped people by directly experiencing them personally. To know the difficulties of a blind person, they have a blind day. On that day, they have to be blind. They cannot see anything. And like that, on a dumb day, they are not supposed to speak at all. On a lame day, One of their legs will be tied up and one leg, one crutch, like that. So like that they have different kinds of days. And on a blind day, a child, if tomorrow is your blind day, overnight, why in the sleep itself your eyes will be bandaged. Means you wake up blind. When you wake up from your sleep, your eyes will be bandaged and you're not supposed to open. And why do they make like that? Right from the beginning of the day, again until they go back to bed at night, how a blind person experiences, that will come into their experience at Miss Beam's school. And not only that, some children will be observing those days, days of misfortune, while some other students are given the duty of helping these people. From this, those who are observing the days, they really understand how difficult it is to be a physically handicapped person. And the helpers, they will know how to cooperate and help such physically handicapped people in real life. Thus, both the way the system helps the children to understand the suffering of the physically handicapped, and it also gives them proper training to help such uh, unlucky guys. There is no misery about it, Miss Beam continued. Everyone is very kind, and it's really something of a game. Before the day is over, though even the most thoughtless child realizes what misfortune is. It's not something any sad or bad. Everyone is very kind. Everyone is very helping in nature. And it's something like a game for the students in our school. And when they go through one of those misfortune days, even the most thoughtless child will also realize how difficult it is, how what really a bad luck is. The blind day is, of course, really the worst. According to Miss Beam, among all the other days, blind day is the worst one because it is her feeling. But some of the children tell Miss Beam that dumb day is the most difficult one. In Miss Beam's opinion, blind day is very difficult. But some children at school told her that dumb day is very difficult. Why? Simple. On a blind day, their eyes are bandaged. So throughout the day, even if they are tempted to see, they can't see. Thus, they cannot break the rule. But on a dumb day, their mouths are not bandaged. So on a dumb day, chances are there for a child, if he loses his patience, or if he loses, or if he is tempted to speak, there is nothing to stop him. There is no bandage or anything across his mouth. His mouth is not covered with any bandage. So one has to exercise one's willpower. A student has to control his mind, has to suppress his desire to open and say something that day. So that's why some children opine that dumb day is more difficult than the blind day. Miss Beam led me to one of the bandaged girls. Here is a gentleman come to talk to you, said Miss Beam, and left us. After that, Miss Beam took the author to one of those bandaged girls, and after reaching there, she spoke to that girl. Some gentleman has come to talk to you, ma. And she said, and she left. Then, starting the conversation, the author asked that little girl whose eyes were covered, "Don't you ever peep?" he asked. He asked that girl if she ever tries to see through that bandage. Then she said, "Oh no, that would be cheating." But I had no idea it was so awful to be blind. You can't see a thing. You feel you're going to be hit by something every moment. It's such a relief just to sit down. Then the girl said, "No, no, no, uncle, that's cheating. I never try to peep through the bandage. And moreover, I don't think it is really that bad to be blind. The only thing is you can't see a thing, you can't see anything. And every moment you feel like you're going to be hit by something while walking. So it's such a relief just to sit down. So that's why on a blind day, it is always good for any student to simply sit at one place without much movement." The girl said, "Are your helpers kind to you?" I asked. The author asked the girl again. "Okay, you're observing blind day today, so you're acting blind today. Uh, your helpers, the helpers, whoever are allotted to help you, are they really kind to you, really helpful to you?" Fairly, yeah. Yes, yes, they help me. But they are not as careful as I shall be when it's my turn. Yeah, they help us, they help me, but they're not as careful and helping when it is my turn. When I'm given the duty to help others, I do that work very sincerely, heartfully. But other students, they may not be as good as I do. And especially the children, those who have already gone through a blind day, they help these blind people greatly. Why? Because already they experienced how difficult it is to be blind. So those who have already had their blind day, when they become helpers, they help the other blind day persons sincerely and honestly. And it's perfectly ghastly not to see. And it's really very difficult, sir, without seeing throughout the day. I wish you would try. You should also try once, uncle, she said. Then Arthur asked, "Shall I lead you anywhere? Shall I take you anywhere in the ground?" he asked. "Oh, yes. Let's go for a little walk. Only you must tell me about things. I shall be so glad when today is over." Yeah, yeah. Yes, definitely. We will go on a little walk and you should tell me about what are the things are there in our surroundings because I can't see. I shall be so glad when today is over. Abba, when this day is over, I'll be very glad. The other bad days can't be half as bad as this. Remaining days are not as even not even half bad as a blind day. Having a leg tied up and hopping about on a crutch is almost fun, I guess. And the girl says, on a lame day, usually their legs are one leg is tied up and another leg, and they'll be given a crutch. And with one leg with a crutch and jumping and all, it's hopping and all. It's like something like fun. And when their arms are tied up, it is a little more difficult because they can't eat with their hands and things like that. I don't think I'll mind being deaf for a day, at least not much. And the girl says, "The deaf day is not at all a problem, but being blind is so frightening. My head aches all the time just from worrying that I'll get hurt. But on blind day, my head really aches a lot because that feeling I may be uh, going to be hit against something like that." Acha, where are we now? And talking like that, she asked, "Where are we now, uncle?" Then the author replied, in the playground. We are walking towards the house. Miss Beam is walking up and down the garden with a tall girl, he said. Ah, we are in the playground. We are walking towards the home, and there, Miss Beam. She is walking up and down with a tall girl. Then the blind girl asked, what is the girl wearing? My little friend asked. Who is the little friend here? The girl with bandaged eyes. A blue cotton skirt and a pink blouse, he answered. Oh, I think it's Millie. What color is her hair? Very light. Yes, that's Millie. She's the head girl. Yeah, she's head girl. Her name is Millie, said the bandaged girl. There is an old man tying up roses, said. He is describing. He is telling what is there, who are there. He is describing the surroundings or the environs to that little bandaged girl. And there is also one old man tying up roses, he said. Yes, that's Peter. He is the gardener. Oh, he is Peter, our gardener. He is hundreds of years old, she said. Means really a person can be hundreds of years? No. In her opinion, he is very old man. And here comes a girl with a curly red hair. She is on crutches. Arthur said, here one more girl is coming with a crutch, with crutches under her arms. Oh, that's Anita, she said. And so we walked on. Gradually, I discovered that I was 10 times more thoughtful than I ever thought I could be. So, when he walked with that little girl, he experienced what he became more thoughtful than he used to be previously. While describing the environs to that little girl, he became so thoughtful, and that was really interesting to the author. And finally, while taking leave from Miss Beam, while returning from school, he said that he was very sorry to go. I really, now I don't want to go away from, but I have to. Then Miss Beam said, oh, then there is something in my system after all. Then Miss Beam, laughing or smiling, she said, yes, sir. If you're feeling bad to go away from my school, there is something definitely uh, important and impressive in my school that really touched your heart, then I'm very happy, said Miss Beams. So, this is all about Miss Beam's school, a different kind of school. How is it different from the other schools or our general other schools or the school you're studying? The only thing, what? Here, the students have all the bad days. On those bad days, they have to act like it's not acting, it is experiencing really. On a blind day, their eyes will be bandaged. On a lame day, their leg will be bandaged. On a crippled day, their arm will be bandaged, tied up, like that. Why? Only to make them experience the suffering of physically handicapped people, and also to develop a sense of responsibility towards such suffering people in society. When these children, when they grow up, they definitely become very responsible, and they help as much as they can to those suffering physically handicapped people in society. It's all about the lesson, A Different Kind of School by E.V. Lucas. Hope you understood it well. Thank you.